Hi friends, I hope you've had a great day today. Hope you're able to get outside and run around, just have some fun. I've got one story I want to read you today. It's kind of a classic story. It's from way back in 1955 and it's called Harold and the Purple Crayon. It's kind of a classic. It just doesn't get old and every generation can enjoy it. So let's see what Harold does with his purple crayon. It's by Crockett Johnson. He's the author and the illustrator. One evening, after thinking it over for some time, Harold decided to go for a walk in the moonlight. There wasn't any moon, and Harold needed a moon for a walk in the moonlight. And he needed something to walk on. Scoot up a little bit. He made a long, straight path so he wouldn't get lost. And he set off on his walk, taking his big purple crayon with him. But he didn't seem to be getting anywhere on the long, straight path. So he left the path for a shortcut across a field, and the moon went with him. And the shortcut led right to where Harold thought a forest ought to be. He didn't want to get lost in the woods, so he made a very small forest with just one tree in it. It turned out to be an apple tree. The apples would be very tasty, Harold thought, when they got red. So he put a frightening dragon under the tree to guard the apples. It was a terribly frightening dragon. It even frightened Harold, and he backed away. His hand holding the purple crayon shook. You see those lines are starting to get wiggly? Suddenly, he realized what was happening. But by then, Harold was over his head in the ocean. Uh-oh. He came up thinking fast, and in no time, he was climbing aboard a little trim boat. He quickly set sail. And the moon sailed along with him. So he made his boat into a sailboat. After he had sailed long enough, Harold made land without much trouble. He stepped ashore on the beach, wondering where he was. The sandy beach reminded Harold of picnics, and the thought of picnics made him hungry. So he laid out a nice, simple picnic lunch. There was nothing but pie. But there were all 9 kinds of pies that Harold liked. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a lot of different pies. When Harold finished his picnic, there was quite a lot left. He hated to see so much delicious pie go to waste. Looks like he's drawing a friend. So Harold left a very hungry moose and a deserving porcupine to finish it up. And off he went looking for a hill to climb to see where he was. Harold knew that the higher up he went, the farther he could see, so he decided to make the hill into a mountain. If he went high enough, he thought, he could see the window of his bedroom. Good thinking. He was tired and he felt he ought to be getting to bed. He hoped he could see his bedroom window from the top of the mountain. He went higher than the moon. But as he looked down over the other side, he slipped. And there wasn't any other side of the mountain. He was falling into thin air. Oh, he better think fast. But luckily, he kept his wits and his purple crayon. He made a balloon and he grabbed onto it. Very clever, Harold. And he made a basket under the balloon big enough to stand in. He had a fine view from the balloon, but he couldn't see his window. He couldn't even see a house. So he made a house with windows, and he landed the balloon on the grass in the front yard. But none of the windows was his window. He tried to think where his window ought to be. So he made some more windows. He made a big building full of windows. He made lots of buildings full of windows. made a whole city full of windows. He's good at drawing windows, isn't he? But none of the windows was his window. He couldn't think where it might be. He decided to ask a policeman. The policeman pointed the way Harold was going anyway, but Harold thanked him. See, he's pointing that way. And he walked along with the moon, wishing he was in his room and in bed. Then suddenly, Harold remembered. He remembered where his bedroom window was when there was a moon, and it was always right around the moon. So he's drawing it. And then Harold made his bed, and he got in and he drew up the covers. The purple crayon dropped on the floor, and Harold dropped off to sleep. Oh, he finally found his window, didn't he? That was very creative. Harold has a great imagination, and maybe you can draw a creation with a purple crayon. You can send it to me with a text or an email, or maybe you could come up with your own color to draw with. So maybe if I was going to write a book, it might be Miss Jennifer and the red crayon. Okay, so maybe see what you can come up with. Awesome. Well, we didn't do Bible story today, but we're going to do it tomorrow because I have something special for tomorrow, an Easter story. And we'll do our Bible verses and our songs and then have that special Easter story together. Okay, well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Hope you sleep good. I hope you have wonderful dreams. And just remember, I love you. Your teachers love you. Your mommy and daddy love you. But who loves you most of all? God does. Always remember that. All right. Bye, friends.